Hi everyone and welcome to the Simple Knit podcast. My name is Elina and you can find me on Instagram and Ravelry as Simple Knit Co. Welcome to my little corner of YouTube where I basically just show and tell all the things that I have been knitting recently. So if this is your first time checking out the podcast, welcome, it's lovely to see you, and if you're a returning viewer, welcome back. It's always great to catch up with you again. I'm coming to you from a kind of sunny, kind of overcast Thursday afternoon in Brisbane, Australia, where I'm from and where I live. And yeah, I've kind of gone down to part-time at my work because there's just not much to do. So I do have a little bit of extra time on my hands to be crafting and reading, and so I just thought I had some time this afternoon and thought I would come and check in with you. And also I've kind of been in a bit of a funk, bit of a bad mood today, so I thought I'll pop on some lipstick, brush my hair and talk about knitting, the things that always make me feel a little bit better. So grab a drink, I've got a cup of coffee, and we'll talk about some yarny things. Now, the first thing I have is what I'm wearing today, which is a finished object from a couple of episodes ago. Apologies, I'm wearing a really bad sports bra with it today. It's because my wardrobe is now basically just hair knits and activewear in some sort of combination. That's all I've really been wearing. And yeah, this is my YURI top that I made out of an alpaca linen silk blend yarn. I'll just get up a little bit so you can see a bit better. It looks really great over leggings. Oh, that's very bright. There we go, that's a bit better. So yeah, it's just like a little baby doll top. This little seam sits quite nicely at, oh, very bright, at my waist, and yeah, I really like it. It comes down to right at the top of my hips, so it's kind of, I love the fit of it, and yeah, I can wear a collared shirt under it if I want, but it's really nice on its own as well. So yeah, I love this top, and I've been wearing it heaps at work and at home. So on to the actual knitting for this week. That's going to really annoy me. Excuse me. Hopefully that stays because that's going to really bug me. What have I got first? I've got this pair of socks that I finally finished for my best friend. There are two of them. And these are going to be popped into the post to send to him. They are just some basic ribbed socks made out of Knit Picks FELICI. This colourway I think was called ACROBAT, and it's from a year or two ago now. But it's a lot of really fun colours. I knit these on a 2.25mm needle, 72 stitches, and I just did 2x2 rib. I've partridge heel flap and gusset with the ribbing down the top of the foot, and then just a regular toe. And these two balls were actually started at the same point, which meant I got a matching pair of socks, which is always an added bonus because his feet are really big, so it takes almost the whole skein, the whole 50-gram skein of FELICI to make a sock for him. So like when I make socks for him, they just start wherever the start of the ball is. I don't try to make them matching, but this pair did get to be matching, which is really nice. So now I just have to post them to him. We were supposed to be going on holidays together this weekend because it's also my birthday this weekend. So it's just a stone cold bummer all around. We've been living in different cities for about 5 years now, so the thought of us being able to spend like 4 whole days together was something we were both really looking forward to, and it's a real bummer, but it is what it is. So, but at least I can pop these really cute socks in the post for him. Yeah, so that is my only finished object. I do have one almost finished object, and I wanted to wait until I had this finished to post a podcast episode. I don't know why, I just thought, oh, I'll just make sure, get it finished. But I just can't be bothered to finish it, and I really wanted to film today. So it is my CLINE jumper. So it's all done. I'll show you one of the sleeves because the other one is actually pinned to the body of the jumper. But that is one sleeve. So they're kind of this cool like stingray diamond shape. And that's the sleeve. And then the rest of it's kind of pinned together and inside out in this big pile here. All I have to do is sew on the sleeves and then do the side seam and it's done. But it's just like getting the momentum to do that, which I'm sure I will do sometime this weekend, but just not yet. But that is, next time you see this it will be done, but at the moment it is just a big pile of knitting. I do have 2 more works in progress and a imminent cast on to share with you. So let's do the works in progress first. I had some leftover yarn from my Lumi jumper that I think I finished last episode or the episode before. It's this Knit Picks yarn. It's called WONDERFLUFF and it's a alpaca and merino and a bit of nylon. It's like a bulky weight yarn. It's really fuzzy. It's really nice. But I had quite a bit left over, maybe like 2 skeins or something left over. I had a bit left over, so I decided to make it into a hat, or some of it at least into a hat. I'm using my absolute favorite ribbed hat pattern. It's the Roku by Olga Baraya-Kefelian. She's Olga Jazzy Knits on Instagram, and it's just a 1x1 ribbed hat pattern. If you're a new viewer, I've said this before, I'm really fussy with crown decreases on hats. So even for like a simple ribbed hat pattern, I go through everyone's projects on Ravelry and see what the crown decreases look like on everyone's hats. And this one I find it's really great. It's a really good fitting hat and it's a pretty versatile pattern. It does have 3 sizes written in the pattern, and I think it is written for a like worsted weight yarn. I've made it with 8-ply, so like a DK weight. I've made it with bulky weight like this. This is kind of a lighter bulky, but I've made it with true bulky weight yarns because there's 3 sizes. So this one I'm using a bulky weight, and I think I went up a needle size too. So I'm doing a 4.5. I don't know if I went up a needle size, maybe I did, but I'm making it on 4.5mm needles, and I'm just making the smaller size. I'm thinking I might send this to one of my friends, or give it to a friend, or keep it for myself. I haven't decided. I probably will send it to someone else because this yarn is kind of the same color as my hair, so not the best color for a hat for me. So yeah, I figured because it's ribbed, it's stretchy, it's really easy to get it to fit as a gift. But yeah, it is a really great hat pattern. I know there are lots of free hat patterns, and because it's just a 1x1 rib, I definitely think for the construction and everything, it's definitely worth purchasing this pattern. I've used it, I've made probably about 5 of these now, and I really love it. So that is another little fuzzy ribbed hat that I've got on the go, which is good. Like carry around knitting. I actually did most of this at work one day when it was very, very quiet. So I did that, and I've got another work in progress that also most of the progress happened when I was at work and not much was happening. So because I finished a pair of socks, I cast on another pair of socks, and this is just a sock for me that I'm making in some yarn that I got earlier this year when I was down in Melbourne. It's from Half Baked Hand Dyed, who is just Australian indie dyer, and this colour's called SUNNYLAND, and I think it's on, I lost the ball band, but I'm pretty sure this is on her Aussie sock base. That's I think a 75% merino, 25% nylon. And yeah, I've made a lot of progress. Probably from the cuff to almost the heel, I knit just in one day at work, just going round and round. I am doing it on a little 9-inch circular needle. So for the cast on and the rib, I do that on magic loop, and I started doing the heel flap on the 9-inch circular, but then it was hurting my hands, so I just switched back to just the interchangeable needle tips to go back and forth on the heel flap. So this is my standard plain sock recipe at the moment. So I do 64 stitches on a 2mm needle. I've got about 20 rows of 2x2 rib, then just plain stockinette, another I've partridge heel that's looking really nice, and then I'm just doing the gusset decreases, which are looking really nice and neat too. So that is just over half a sock. So hopefully I should be able to power through and get the foot of that sock done pretty soon, because I'm actually really enjoying I usually, socks take me quite a while to knit because I will just have them in my purse and just get them out when I'm waiting or commuting or something. But I've actually been enjoying just like knitting on socks when I'm watching TV and doing other things, when I'd normally be knitting on a different kind of project. But I've been really enjoying just straight sock knitting, which is a nice change. That's the great thing, there's so many different things that you can knit, so there's always something, you can always find something to do. So one of the other reasons I really wanted to podcast today, I feel like I've been talking really fast, so I'm just going to take a sip. So another thing I really wanted to podcast about was I have swatched for my next cast on that I had, even when I bought the yarn for this, kind of had in my mind would be like my birthday cast on, and now because I don't get to do anything else for my birthday, this is the one thing I have to look forward to. I know there are many people in a worse situation than me, but you just got to feel your feelings, and you're allowed to be disappointed even if the things that you've had to cancel aren't that big a deal. You're allowed to be disappointed, but it's also really great to have something to look forward to. So I've done a little swatch for my next jumper project. So this is the Shifty by Andrea Mowry. You've probably seen it. She's done this like shift style for a few different, I think there's a hat, a cowl, a shawl, and a jumper. And the jumper really spoke to me, and I won't be using Spin Cycle, which is what the yarn that she used for the sample that it's written for, because it's really expensive in Australia. It's $47 a skein in Australia. There is a Skein Sisters in Sydney does stock Spin Cycle, and they're a great yarn shop. I'd always be happy to support them, but that is very expensive for 50 grams of yarn. So I am not taking any credit for this. There's probably, I think 5 or 6 people have used this yarn for this jumper. I've seen there's about 5 or 6 Ravelry projects, but the main person I was inspired by last year was I think her handle's Clouds and Yarn, and now like it's completely Clouds and Yarn. Yeah, that's her handle on Instagram, and she's made 2 shifties out of Bendigo Woolen Mills yarn. It's called Bloom, and it's a DK weight yarn, but it's quite a similar effect to, I think, to the Spin Cycle yarn, in that it's kind of all different colors spun together in kind of a random order. Like it says on the tag that balls from the same dye lot won't look the same, so it's just kind of a whole lot of colors together. So as I said, other people have used this yarn for this project, and I thought that's awesome. All the yarn for this was like less than 2 skeins of Spin Cycle. Bendigo Woolen Mills yarns are really affordable, and they come in these big 200 gram balls. So I'm also going to have a lot left over of the contrast colors. So I did do up a little swatch. So I'm going to hold it upside down because that's the order that the colors will be going in on the jumper. And of course now the sun goes away. Ooh, ooh, ooh. There we go, you can kind of see it there. So that is kind of what it will look like. But the lighting, of course, has gone terrible. Maybe if I hold it over here. No, that doesn't help. Hold it back here. there's a whole bunch of really weird clouds coming over, so the lighting has gone a bit bizarre, but I'm really excited. I really like the way that these yarns all look together. So I'll just show you in the skein what I'm going to be using. They just came out with this new colours of Bloom, I think in January, and they did them kind of as a fundraiser for bushfire relief. So even better, because they didn't have any in stock. They kind of just release this yarn once a year. I feel like I've not been speaking about this in any sort of cogent order, but whatever. So this is my main colour. This is called Twilight Sky, and it's a whole bunch of kind of pinks and purples and blues. So I thought that would be really pretty as kind of a base colour or colours. And then my first contrast colour, this is actually my favourite of all of them. I think it's so pretty. That's pretty accurate. So this one's called Rust, and it's kind of pastel-y colours. So it's got blues and greens, but then also those warm tones like oranges and pinks. So my idea was to have like a cool toned base colour and then warmer tones for my contrast colours, so that you get a nice contrast, but also most of them have some of those like purples and blues through them as well, so you kind of get a little bit of that cohesion too. So this is called Rust, it's my favourite. And then the next contrast colour, the second one, is called Sunrise, and it's this beautiful purples and oranges, really warm, a slightly lower contrast between all the colours in the yarn than the other ones, but still super pretty. And then my third contrast colour is called Tropical Fish. So it's kind of like a darker, deeper version of Rust. It has the oranges and purples, but also it has quite a bit of green and blue, and then much kind of darker, deeper, richer, more jewel tones. So I'm really stoked with how that's all going to work up together. And in the little swatch, you didn't really get any colour changes because I just made a little swatch, but I really like the look of the kind of warm and cool tones together. I think it's going to look really cool. So yeah, I'm really excited to cast that on. I may cheat and cast on today, now that I've shown you the swatch. I may cheat and cast on now, just because I am so excited about this project. Because it is a DK weight yarn, I did have to do a little bit of maths to work out, because I'm really happy. This is actually the recommended needle size. It's a 3.75, and I'm really happy with the fabric I got with it. It's like stretchy, but not too, it's a good density. I really like the way that the fabric looks. So I just have, and my gauge is quite a bit bigger than the recommended, or the gauge in the pattern, so I did a little bit of maths, and I think I'm going to be right using the second size. If I just went off of, like, if I got gauge, I would definitely be making the third size, but I would be making the third size and getting 2 inches of negative ease, which is what Andrea Mowry recommends if you're kind of between two sizes, because I've got a 40-inch bust, and the sizes, there's like a 38 and a 42 or something like that, so I'm right in the middle of two sizes, and in that case she recommends that you go down a size. So I was already kind of going down a size, and then I think with the gauge that I've got, I should get close to 0 ease with making the second size at this gauge, but we'll see how it goes. If I get to the armhole separation and try it on and it's a bit funny, I can just rip it out and, oh no, I'll have to do more knitting. What a shame. So I'm just really excited to cast on this project. I've just like had this yarn for a little while now, so I'm just really excited to cast it on. So that's kind of everything that I've been working on. I feel like because I haven't been talking to people very much, I'm not sure how that went, but we'll see. And yeah, that's kind of all that's been happening in my world. I've been watching quite a bit of TV while I knit, so I've started rewatching the show Dexter. I watched it like not long after it first came out. I started watching it, but I never finished it. I think I got like halfway through the John Lithgow season, which I think is season 4, but that would have been many, like 6 or 7 years ago now, so I don't really confidently remember enough of what happened to just pick up where I left off. So I'm just going right back to the beginning, and I'm really enjoying it. Remembering why I really liked watching it the first time around. It's a really interesting show. Michael C. Hall is just such a cool actor. I just think he's really cool, and he's really great in the role as well. So yeah, obviously it's a show about a serial killer, so it is quite violent, but yeah, I really like it. I've started watching the show Fringe, which is like a weird X-Files. It's like, I feel weird recommending it because it's not like the best show I've ever watched. And Anna Torv, who's actually an Australian actress who plays the main character, she's not my favourite actress, but I started watching it because I recently watched all of the John Wick movies, finally. I'd watched like the second one in a daze on my friend's couch one day, but like I hadn't really watched it properly. So I actually watched all 3 of them, and they're really great movies. But Lance Reddick is in them. He's also in Bosch, which is a show I love. He was in The Wire, which is one of my all-time favourite shows. And I was just like reading his Wikipedia page because I love him. He's one of my favourite actors, and I saw that he was in the show Fringe, and I was like, oh yeah, I've heard of that. And then I read the synopsis. I was like, oh yeah, that sounds interesting. So it's an old project of J.J. Abrams. He was one of the creators of it, and yeah, it's like a less good X-Files is how I would describe it. But it's still enjoyable. The dynamic between all of the characters is really fun, at least in the first season. I'm not sure how it will progress, but the kind of dynamic between all of the different characters is really interesting. So, and it's just like fun, weird mysteries, but it's a little bit more gross than the X-Files as well. Like it's a little bit more graphic, but I'm really enjoying it. It's actually it's on 7+, which is, 7's one of the free-to-air channels here in Australia. And I hadn't looked at their kind of online streaming stuff. It's free. And they've got a whole heap of really good shows on 7+. So they have like all of the old shows like All Saints and A Country Practice and all those shows that you haven't watched in like since the early 2000s, like since they aired. And they've got a whole bunch of like British procedurals and things on there as well. So I'd never looked at it, and I'd never heard anyone really talking about it, and just I happened to like Google where can I watch Fringe online in Australia. Where can I watch blank online in Australia is probably my most searched Google search, because it can be hard with Foxtel licenses ruining everything. It's quite hard to watch a lot of things legally online in Australia. But yeah, wow, this lighting has gone, it's in the last episode of Audrey of a Yarn Flakes, of her podcast, she said that the lighting for her was kind of like a Renaissance painting, and that's definitely how I'm feeling. Like there's something coming from here. It's like a little shaft of light. But yeah, if you're in Australia, check out 7+. They have so many good shows, and it's free. Like it's like SBS On Demand. You just put in your email address, but it's free. And yeah, there's a lot of really good stuff on there. So if you are having a little bit more time on your hands than you have had before and would like to watch all like 20 seasons of All Saints, that's the place to go. So I think that's about all I have to talk about today. I hope you're all keeping safe and well, and your families are all safe and well. Let me know down below what you're making, what else you're doing to fill your time now that we can't go out. I haven't had like physical contact with another human being for like 3.5 weeks, and it's slowly starting to grate on me. So let me know what you're doing down below, and I can't wait to hear from you. Hit me up on Instagram, come say hi. I always love talking to you. And yeah, if you have, just let me know how you're going. So take care, and I will see you in the next episode. Bye.